On today's episode of The Morgue, those scientists are back at it again in the seventh installment of the Jurassic Park franchise, Jurassic World Rebirth. Stay tuned.
Please. Sorry. Please open the door for me.
Welcome to The Morgue, where we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of movies. I am Arturo Padilla, and with me always is Nick Valdez. Tex, how's it going, buddy?
Oh man, howdy everybody, howdy Arturo. I am very excited to talk about this today. 7 movies in the Jurassic Park franchise. I honestly didn't put the numbers together, until you mentioned it just now.
It's a lot, right? I mean, it really is a lot. And we have, again, you guys know us, we are sickos. So we actually watched every single movie in this franchise. And we will talk about that on a later episode. But the quality of these movies, man, really just downhill after part 1. So I am glad to say, folks, before we get into it, you guys know how we do things here, right? You either stay away from it, right? You completely stay away from the movie, right? You wait for it. You wait till it hits streaming and you can watch in the comfort of your own home, or you pay for it. You go to the movie theater and you put down money for a ticket, or you pay for a free trial, right? Before we break this one down completely, I really have to say that this for me was a huge pay for it. Huge pay for it. I had a great time at the movie theater watching all these dinosaurs. I think it's the best they've looked in a long time. I think it's the best story, honestly, that we've gotten for a Jurassic Park movie since part 1. And for that, I think this is a total pay for it. It was an awesome summer blockbuster-ish kind of movie, right, Tex?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like leading into July looks like the biggest month of the year in terms of just movies, right? Like we've gotten some other smaller blockbusters like F1, that was like that, Top Gun Maverick director, and you're like, oh yeah, big screen, big movie.
Mhm.
But Jurassic Park just is that summer blockbuster franchise. And Jurassic World Rebirth, thankfully, I will also say pay for it. Like
Woo!
like just spoiler free, like just before we get into it, like I really liked it. Like we sat through the other 6 movies, right?
Yes, we
Like
have.
this is the thing, right? And when you compare it to the other ones, you're like, this is the best it's been since Jurassic Park 1. And when you think about that, you're like, man, so they made 6 movies and none of them were like quality. Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Like, that was but they continue to make so much money at the box office. Like, what was the number for this one, Arturo? Like, how much did this one make?
This one made $322.5 million in its opening weekend, man.
That is mind-blowing. And honestly, it does make sense ultimately because it's dinosaurs, man. Like nothing beats dinosaurs. Like I don't care like what people say that, oh, you grew out of loving dinosaurs when you were a kid and all that stuff, but something about dinosaurs, man. Something about like a good T-Rex. You're like, yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah, because honestly, you just said it. It's like it's the spectacle of it all, right? Like when
Right.
we like go and we just like see the actual poster for this thing,
Right.
right? Like you see that huge, mutant dinosaur behind it, which honestly the design was wicked, bro. That was a gnarly looking dinosaur.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, what is different here? Like, especially from like another action-packed, let's say a summer movie, like let's say a
No,
Marvel
I mean,
movie or
I
something
mentioned,
like that, you know?
yeah, they don't have a dinosaur in it,
No,
right?
they
And
don't.
so,
Like, there's no spectacle there. 'Cause everyone knows about the T-Rex, but everyone also wants to see what the latest and greatest dinosaur they've concocted in the labs,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And so that's the dividing thing. Like getting into this specifically, right? Getting into this full-blown review here, it's I could see why someone is turned off because in the last like 3 movies especially, they started doing that thing where it's like, well, we ran out of dinosaurs, quite literally, right?
Yeah.
Like they ran out of dinosaurs to use, so they started making up some. So for they started experimenting and fusing dinosaurs
Hmm.
together, and then by the time Dominion comes out, it's not even dinosaurs anymore; it's bugs. So like for this one, they invented another dinosaur that's kind of just like full on monster at this point. Like
Yeah.
it's not even like it doesn't resemble like a dinosaur in any kind of like
Oh, it looks more like a xenomorph kind of offspring with a predator or something, right?
so wait, you know this Arturo. What's the monster it not what's the not the in Star Wars, not the pit, but the one that's like in the like Luke like you
Yeah,
get
Return of the Jedi, the Rancor, right? It looks like a
yes,
Rancor, legit,
yes,
yeah.
that's exactly what it is. It's just a giant rancor. And honestly, for as much as it's shown, there's a bit of a spoiler there too. We're gonna get into further into this, but like for as much as it's shown in like the posters and trailers and stuff, it's honestly not that big a part of a movie. Like
Yeah,
the Rancor just kind of like it gets a scene in the opening to like set up the fact that it's a giant monster, and then you see it at the end. And it's like, if people were worried about like, oh, science fusion monsters that aren't dinosaurs anymore, like then that's not really a problem here, right? Like, because
correct.
it's really only there for a little bit. It's mainly about the journey, quote
Yeah,
unquote,
and
right?
and I'm glad you brought that up because the journey that we have here, is a three-part obstacle for our protagonists and our antagonists in
Yes.
this movie, right? So the whole gist of the movie is that this science corporation, needs legit live DNA samples from the three biggest dinosaurs, one from the air, one from land, and one from sea. Very kind of like, it's a basic setup, but that setup leads to a lot of great action sequences in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
real Saturday morning cartoon of it, right?
Mhm.
And honestly, it's not that bad of an idea. I really
No,
liked it, right?
no,
Like I
dude,
was I was
I
feeling
think
it.
it
Yeah.
works because as an audience, you're expecting these these obstacles to pop up. It's like, okay, cool. Like, we got the water one. What's next, right?
Yes.
Oh, we
Yes.
gotta go to the air. And then just off the bat, like that first water sequence alone was just like awesome. Like, if that was what was in store for the audience, which was like it was great. So that they gave you all this action, but they didn't let down. They didn't disappoint with the other action pieces. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, this is the first time that I really felt that the characters were actually focused on and written as people, people with
Yeah,
like,
like
like feelings and like
dude, like
real trauma and
interesting
stuff.
characters, right? Like
Yes,
it
absolutely.
it was an interesting story for the first time in since Jurassic Park 1.
Yeah.
I honestly just looking at the characters across multiple films, like by the time you got to Jurassic World, they were kind of just like inventing people to like be like Chris Pratt was kind of like superhuman-esque, you know.
Oh my
like
God. Don't get me
his
started with
character was
that one, man.
his character was training raptors, so like it lost all sense of that groundedness. And that's, you can argue that's the case here where it's like nothing's really grounded anymore, but also like it's part 7,
Also, it's
and
Jurassic World, so nothing really is
yeah,
grounded in this franchise, even from
yeah,
part one. You know what I mean?
yeah, like they went the Saturday morning cartoon route, and in that route, I do think it ended up working out, especially because like ultimately it had characters that had layers to them and interesting layers. Like in it, you know, that's the thing too. Like a lot of the humans in these movies, like it's kind of like Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like if you have bad human characters, you're not really going to care about the movie,
Mhm.
and that's been the pattern for the last like several years. And honestly, since part 2, I don't know if you agree, Artur, but I think Jurassic Park probably has like it was such like a perfect story, and when you watch it, you're like, this is like
Yes.
a perfect
But
movie, right?
this is why they've had problems getting to that peak again, because
Yeah.
what else are you going to do? Because we had this conversation off air when I was watching rewatching part 1, that Alan Grant, right? Uh Sam Neill's character, right? Like, his character was his character and Laura Dern's character, right? They were like actually grounded in a way where it's like, okay, these people are, yes, they would be invited to this thing to get their blessing from this rich guy. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's there, but then every movie after that, they tried to regurgitate the same kind of formula. You know, part 2, Lost World, was just like, what the hell happened? Like, they
Yeah.
lost Sam Neill and Laura Dern. They brought back Goldblum, right?
Yeah,
And
and it
Goldblum
yeah.
isn't the kind of character. I'm not saying he's the kind of actor. He doesn't have the kind of character in this universe to support a whole
Yeah,
movie the way they made him do. You know,
it's why they
so it's
brought
been
back
downhill
Alan
since
for
then. Yeah.
yeah, it's why they brought back Alan for part 3, and it's why they kind of do the same thing for the scientist here, Jonathan Bailey's character. You know, he from Wicked. I did not know it was the same guy. I gotta be honest.
You
Like,
slap a beard and some glasses on him, like, like a
yo,
grizzled Clark Kent. We had no clue.
costuming really did the trick, right? Like, I totally did not recognize him as like the prince from Wicked, and like he was great. And they gave him the Sam Neill part. They gave him
Yes.
the, they did the whole, oh, well, do you want to see a real dinosaur in the wild? And he's like, damn it, I do.
Yeah, he's
And
like, it's like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in," you know?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty much what happened, because, the not the scientist guy, but the guy from corporate science, right? He was
yeah,
like, "We're bringing a civilian with us, but he doesn't know he's going," and then when he's told, he's like, "Wait a minute, you told me I was just consulting," and then they're like, "Wait a minute," and then it's Scarlett Johansson's character, of course, she was like, "Well, you can't really call yourself this kind of expert without actually being in the field," so they were like, "Okay, I'm in.
yeah,
I'm in.
yeah. It
I'm
was
gonna put
nice
my life
because
in danger."
yeah, it was a good dynamic. She was the experienced mercenary taking the unexperienced scientists to the island. And then you have like the corpo guy who's like, "Oh, what's going on with him? He seems kind of shady, right?" And so my only qualm in like with this movie in general is that intro. It does take a little while to
Yeah.
actually get going, but once you get to the dinosaurs, honestly, once the family shows up, right? Like
Yeah.
once the
Mhm.
family shows up in their boat and they're like traveling through the seas for whatever reason, they never quite explain that. They're just like the dad's just like, "Oh, one more round," like
He's a sailor, I guess. Like, no, they were
yeah,
like hardcore sailing though, because they were taking shifts and all that stuff. So,
y-
but yeah, but the family being introduced definitely helped out the story because it gave us some more people to latch onto, and we actually did care about the family. And they got into some situations that if they weren't like trained like mercenaries, they wouldn't be in. So we get a lot of cool sequences with them getting chased by a T-Rex. That was a really cool sequence. They go on their own after a while because they get split up from the main crew because some dastardly deeds.
yeah, the
Um,
Delgados, yes.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like it's basically two stories. Like the Delgados really are their own thing in this whole thing, and they are separate from like the main mission of like getting the three samples from the three dinosaurs. But it's it's great though because yeah, it gives you two different kinds of things. It gives you a story where one half of the characters are more active, like they're seeking out trouble, and then you have the Delgados who are going through the traditional horror aspect of it, like, oh,
yes.
this is like we're hiding from monsters. And I do, and then when they, when they cross and mix and swerve, like it, I don't know, I just think it really works. Like I like I just enjoyed it, man. Like it's really hard to like kind of like break that down. Like, oh, I just really liked
Well,
it. And
because like it's like we've been saying, Tech. It's like you give us a good story, right?
yeah.
With good characters, and we're there, man. And this is exactly what this movie provides, right? Like this movie, like we all went in, oh, Jurassic Park,
Yeah, we like we said, we've watched
yeah,
so many of these that are
yeah.
sequels.
It's
Like
like, okay, I didn't go in with any high expectations, knowing
no,
what
absolutely
came
not.
before it. I was like, okay, I don't know what to expect, but I know it's not gonna be Dune 2. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let me just temper my expectations. And then you walk in and you're actually fed real people as characters this time
Yeah.
around, and not just like cookie cutter action figures from the 80s and 90s, pretty much what they were in the previous movies. And you're like, oh, this is a character that has past trauma. Oh, this doctor has a heart, and
Right.
even early on, very, very early on in the movie. So this is not a spoiler. The doctor is questioning, hey, should we be giving this to the scientists who only want to give it to the rich? Why don't we share this, this discovery with everybody? Because it's supposed to be this brand new medicine that's supposed to like cure heart disease and all this other like crazy stuff that still kills people till this day. So
Right. Yeah, it's
it
real
was
like,
yeah,
it's not really like fully baked of an idea. I
but
will
like
give it
but it
that.
doesn't
But that's
matter, right?
yes, that's
It
ultimately the other thing,
I
right?
don't
Like
need the science behind it. I just know that you guys are trying to get this so you can accomplish this. Done.
yeah, and the whole
Done.
Scarlett Johansson thing, like, oh, either this or the money is like it's really like, like it's on the like, but that's the thing, Arturo. Even with these little problems that I like, yeah, these are like nitpicks, right? These
Mhm.
That's the thing here at the morgue. When we do reviews, we have to highlight how like what stood out to us, whether negatively or positively, and that's the thing with Jurassic World. It does have these moments where I'm like, oh, that's a little funky, that's a little thing, but at the end of the day, when I walked out of that theater, I was like, yo, that was a great movie. I had a great time. And that's the thing. Like, this is a blockbuster. Like, honestly, like
Mhm. Yeah.
it's this is a summer blockbuster, flaws and all, and it's to where like the characters are interesting in the moment and they are entertaining it while you're watching it. There's great like it's good monster movie stuff too. Like there's I think I appreciated that the most. Gareth, I always mix it up.
Edwards.
It's Edwards because I
Yeah.
always want to say Evans, but Evans is the other one, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
but Gareth Edwards, who also directed The Creator, which was an awesome movie. Like
Mhm.
we've done the review here at the morgue for The Creator, which was just like, yo, tell me that Hollywood isn't just like broken when that movie, like you tell me it's a really small budget, but those visual effects, like for those machines, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is all to say, like everything looked great. The dinosaurs were they look great. I think that the scene I want to highlight the most is the T-Rex scene with the
Yes.
Delgado family,
Yeah. Mhm.
like where it kind of like it pulled like a Jason Voorhees where the T-Rex just kind of teleported
Yeah.
at
I
one
love
point,
that.
right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love
right.
that. That
It's
was really clever.
that's good monster
Yeah.
movie stuff, right? And
Yeah.
like
Agreed.
that whole whitewater chase with the T-Rex, it was just like, man, like that's just really good movie making. And it was the same case for all like the dinosaurs too, like the C one, right? Like you were bringing up before.
Yeah.
The first C one where like the giant like I forget what it's called, but it attacks the ship and then like Scarlett Johansson has to shoot the needle in it and then she misses the first time or like falls over and it's like and then like one of the girls might fall off and die, and then oh
Yeah.
another guy gets eaten, and it's like yo, it's just great stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like
It,
it's
it kept you on the edge of your seat as to what's going to happen next because of all the action that they threw at you in all the acts of the movie, which I think was
yes,
smart because like you mentioned, the beginning is a little slow, just gathering the troops kind of thing, getting the team together. But then once it kicks in into the
yes,
actual like story as to when they're on the island, when they're all together, it's just like nonstop. You're just there, just witnessing all these awesome sequences of dinosaurs, all different kinds of dinosaurs too. Like in that water sequence alone, you get like a couple of different ones who are working together to try and attack them, and it's just awesome. It's a really cool sight to see. Apparently, like they finished all the rendering and the CG for this thing like 6 weeks, dude. Like it was like
see,
record
okay,
breaking kind of stuff
yeah,
apparently.
that's what I mean. Like, is that good or is that bad? I don't know. Like,
I
I
did notice a couple hiccups here and there because I am
there
being picky about things, but
right.
but for 6 week turnaround of CG, it could have been a Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
Look,
So
yeah, as well, I'll put the stamp here as long as they weren't crunching, like as long as they just finished it because they were that good and efficient at it, right? Like
yeah,
it's like yeah, I'd rather it be that kind of record than like a studio executive's like, "Yo, finish this in 6 weeks or you're fired." You know?
But listen, but like again, we're used to seeing all the animatronic stuff from the first Jurassic World. So this one's a little
Yeah,
different because it's full of CG.
yeah,
And apparently it has the most CG scenes of a Jurassic Park movie. But like that's the world we live in now, you know?
yeah.
Um,
It makes sense because lore
yeah,
wise, they go to a completely different island.
yeah,
Like it's not the island seen in one, two, or three, or even World. This
yeah.
is one that was like, oh, they are also
Yep.
experimenting on
The
dinosaurs over
Forgotten
here.
Island, you know, where it has
Yes,
a bunch of where they left it for dead because it has a bunch of mutant dinosaurs on it pretty much, you know?
right. Yeah,
So, like, it was cool. I don't know where they can go after this, you know? But we say that all the time, and they find a way to just pop up again, right?
yeah. Because right, like, because my immediate thought is like, oh well, that's kind of that should be it, but we know that's never the case. Like this is part seven, which
Now
means
with
it's the
$322 million on opening weekend, baby, you know,
yeah,
we're
and
definitely gonna see ScarJo once again.
yes, and I that's the way to go, right? Like you kept ScarJo in this,
Mhm,
you kept Mahershala Ali, even
mhm.
though okay, so that's also one thing, since we're going full spoilers,
Yeah,
Mahershala
for
Ali,
sure.
his character, he's going through something because he
Yeah,
lost his child.
Duncan
Yeah,
is, a little rough around the edges character-wise, like, in
yeah,
terms of, like, not being, like,
like
fully
fully
yes,
utilized,
yes,
right?
fully
Like
utilized or fleshed
because
out.
so like and it seems so interesting in the beginning because he's part of that long intro of like we're meeting all the parts of Scarjo's team, and like he gets this good scene where they kind of wrangle more money out of like the corporate guys. So you're like, they know
Yeah,
each other, this is fun. And like he's the captain of the boat, and he starts to like open up to Scarjo about like stuff they've been through. They both done the same line of work. He lost a kid, and because of that, it's like him and his partner kind of separated because of that. And like and he's having this connection with like the youngest Delgado because he's like, yo, he sees his kid in her, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna save you. But then that's like the third of the movie. Like that's like the last act where he's like, I'm gonna make sure you're okay. And you're like, oh, it would have been nice to have like maybe the captain be with the Delgado family or something, right?
yeah,
To kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
to
That's a
kind
great
of
point.
push that a little bit more, like as like I'm protecting these kids because I lost my own kid. But it's like you don't really get that until the end of the
No.
movie.
Yeah, we're
And then
supposed to
by
just kinda be like, "Oh, okay, his past trauma is what's
yeah,
driving his character right now because that's the
yeah,
only thing
and
he
he
has."
yeah, and he does like this big sacrifice with like the Rancor, and it's like it's really cool. He pulls up the flare like Alan Grant style, right? He's like,
Just
"Yeah,
like
come and
poster
get
pretty
me."
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, come and get me." And he's like laughing. And he's like, "Ah," ha, ha, ha," and it's like it's a real big like, and then it cuts away, and he shows up again. Like he's perfectly fine. He escapes somehow, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of plot armor in Jurassic Parks in general, and that's
Yes.
just kind of something you accept, right? You're like,
You kinda
yeah,
just
you're
have
like,
to, you know?
yeah, you're like, all the main characters are going to be fine. It's the extra ancillary characters, it's the fodder that's like, okay, they're the ones that are gonna get eaten, but the core characters are usually fine.
Yeah.
That's just Jurassic Park. That's the thing. You just kind of have to accept that.
But you know what though,
But
Tex? Like, sorry to interrupt you, but in this one, it changes that. We actually get people like, dying. We get
well, that's the
consequences
thing.
here, you know?
They're still secondaries. You know what I mean? Like we weren't gonna lose a Delgado family
Yes,
member.
but
Yeah.
usually in the previous Jurassic Park, the protagonist, like the good guys, and never really got it like that. You know, it was
Yeah,
always the
that's
bad guys getting eaten by the dinosaurs because they're desperate.
exactly
You
it.
know, but
Because
this
yeah,
time, yeah, we
because
have characters that we
yes.
learned about, and now they're not just fodder. They're like, hey, they're in the line of fire now. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
I think that also helped the story because it gave it some consequence. We've like watching Dominion alone, dude. Like Dominion and what Fallen, whatever,
Yeah, Fallen
right?
Kingdom.
Dude,
Yeah.
like the whole island is exploding,
Yeah.
exploding, and then you have Chris Pratt, like you said, like a superhero, like not even taking like a freaking a scratch, bro.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
very
that's the
annoying.
plot armor that we were
Yeah,
talking about, and like it's present here with Mahershala Ali surviving at the end, but like we were saying, like that's kind of Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
right? Like at the end of the day, these are feel good summer blockbuster movies. You know, like even like looking back at the worst ones, right? Like Jurassic Park, what was it, 3 with the family that
yes,
like the
3, yeah.
son was, yeah, the son was there and they had to go back to find the son. They drag Alan back. Even then, at the end of the movie, you're like, oh, okay, this family's coming back together. You know,
Yeah,
even
you know what?
like,
I
yes,
don't mind part 3 in comparison to part 2 and the rest. Part 3 wasn't too bad because it actually, like, it turned out to be a decent story, and the kid was
right.
actually a good character, where it's like, "Oh, you're a freaking smart kid over here," you know?
Yeah, part 2 is fine. It was fine because it added more fodder, and so you had a lot
A
more
lot more
dino
fodder.
kills to
A
it,
lot more
you
fodder,
know,
yeah.
because of the military guys. So
Of
like
course.
you got to see 2 T-Rexes pull a guy apart, and that's
Hell
kind of
yeah, we did.
cool.
Yeah, it
You
was
know,
cool.
and like, that's cool. In Jurassic World, I will give it the benefit of like, scale and that one death where, the giant C1 comes out and eats the pterodactyl that's already like they were already
Yeah.
fighting over the lady.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
that was
like, oh,
dope.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's particularly mean, but like that's also why we watch horror. You're like, yeah, that's a mean kill. That's cool
They're also
kills, right?
dinosaurs too, you know, so you kind of expect that brutality, you know? So,
Yeah, yeah. And like, and what was it? And like Fallen Kingdom or Dominion has DeWanda Wise in it. So it's like, oh, okay, like these movies have something for everybody, right? But like DeWanda Wise, by the way, shout outs. But yeah, like this one just has good characters, has a good story, and I think that's just so refreshing for Jurassic Park.
well, yeah, but this is why it's a big pay for it, right? This is why it's a
Right.
big pay for it because, of that reason alone. Like, you actually get a story that people actually, like, will like to follow, characters people will actually like to follow, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
like, that's why I was in it. My kids enjoyed it. That's the first time they actually saw a Jurassic Park movie in theaters, you know? And they
Yeah,
really
that's
liked it, and I'm glad this was the first one they saw in theaters because the others were garbage in comparison to this one, you
yeah,
know?
and this one's more funny enough. It's like that first one in that it's family friendly.
Yeah,
Like,
it
yeah,
is.
there's some wild like dinosaur eating stuff, but like, yo, you got the family
Yeah.
in there. It's like, yeah, you got Dolores, which was like a new
Oh,
like cute little mascot,
oh,
right?
too
So it's like,
cute.
oh,
All
yeah,
animatronic too on top of that. Dolores was all animatronic, no CG there.
really, like
Yeah.
Dolores is real. Like,
Yeah, it was real, dude. It freaking built it. It has, like, hundreds of little micro motors and all that stuff
well,
inside. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
kudos to them
Yeah,
for doing that, because honestly I thought it was CG, and either way, like I didn't have a problem with it. Dolores is
me
good.
neither. I
Yeah,
I
it
like
was a good little,
Dolores.
like, yeah, this was yeah, funny enough, right? Looking back, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of family friendly. It was a nice little Dino
Yeah.
Island adventure
Yes.
where
Yeah.
everybody
Mhm.
important got
It
home safe.
yes.
Yeah.
Everyone we cared about actually made it home safely.
Yeah,
But
the bad
yeah.
guy got his, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's what you want in a summer blockbuster movie.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it. Tex enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure you folks at home will enjoy this one in the movie theater. So go pay for Jurassic World Rebirth right now. It is worth your money. And it's a good time in the theater, especially during these hot days. Go in there for a couple of hours, enjoy a good film, and come out happy. And that is what it's all about, folks.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Go check out Jurassic World Rebirth and go check out the Morgue on YouTube, folks. We are there. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. You hit that little bell on top to know when these videos are dropping. We'll be hitting you guys with individual reviews all throughout, time, space, and all that. So you will be seeing a lot more of us with a lot more frequency, and you guys deserve it. You guys have been listening, and speaking of listening, don't forget we do have a pod version of this coming out at the end of the week where you can catch up with the reviews and the coming attractions. So don't forget to subscribe to the Morgue on YouTube. And folks, remember, it is a scary world out there, but we are always here to walk you through it.